So this right here is nothing short of iconic. Everyone knows Tom Ford Noir Extreme, and actually this was the first Tom Ford fragrance I had ever smelled. I smelled it in like a retailer or something several years back when I was up in Chicago. So it's kind of cool to be able to, you know, tie this all back together to where now I own a lot of the private blends. I own the Gray Vetivers, Tom Ford Pour Homme, the original, and Noir Extreme has always been one that I've really liked. There's an interesting kind of feeling about this one that you get when you smell it. It's got that Colfie note. It's very gourmand, very sweet, inviting. And now, after several years, we have a flanker to this one. It's going to be Tom Ford Noir Extreme Parfum. Now, Tom Ford is kind of going through here, and they're starting to add some parfums and that sort of thing, and they're all kind of following this bottle style, which is going to be this gold bottle. It's really going to look nice and premium. It's going to look great next to your Noir Extreme bottle here. So we're going to go ahead and crack this one open. Basically, I'm just going to tell you how it smells, how it compares to the original, and just off the bat, if I think it's going to be something that'll be worth your attention. And I will link this one down below as well. It is fully available now here in the United States, so you can purchase this one. That will be at full retail, right? It just came out, but it's also important to note that it is a Tom Ford product, and usually even at discounters, you're not going to be saving a ton of money off of retail. So, you know, depending on how much you want to save a buck, if you're really into the Noir Extreme line and you want it, then you might as well go ahead and pick it up, because it's going to take a few months for you to maybe save $10 or $15, maybe $20 or something. So it all depends on what you're after. So here's the bottle. Like I said, it's going to look similar to a lot of the parfums that have been starting to come out by Tom Ford and will, I'm sure, continue to come out. It's going to be a fingerprint magnet, I'm sure, right? But that's all right. Just wipe it off every now and then. It'll be cool. It does really look sharp, though, especially here in front of the lights. Definitely going to be a head turner. It's going to look great on your shelf. And I figured real quick, I'll go ahead and show you a couple of the other parfums. Here's Black Orchid Parfum by Tom Ford, same deal, and Costa Azura Parfum. So you can have all of your parfums kind of matching here from the brand. It's going to look super cool. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into this one here. This is the 100 ml bottle. I'm going to go ahead and spray this on. I paid $2.35 for this, by the way. Ended up getting mine from Ulta, it was. I do believe they still have it in stock. I'll link it down below. So let's see what we got. Ooh, nice. So right off the bat, instead of immediately getting that overwhelming amount of sweetness that you do in the original, and I'm going to be referencing the original as Noir Extreme, not the original Tom Ford Noir, just so we're clear. Just makes it easier here. The original Tom Ford Noir Extreme. That one, it opens up very, very sweet and heavy right away. This one, though, you're immediately getting some leather, some spices, and some woods. Even in some instance, it almost feels like a little bit of oud. Now, I'm trying to glance at the note breakdown here, and I'm not really seeing oud. I'm seeing the leather, suede, I'm seeing Gaiac wood, and for spices, I'm not really sure what is on there. Spiciness could be coming from the leather. So that's kind of where I'm at right off the top. Leathery, woody, a little bit spicy, but you do still get that Colfie note in here, that signature Tom Ford Noir Extreme note, and I love it. I really do. Like I said, that is the note that makes this DNA stick out so much. There's nothing else out there that smells like it other than maybe some clones. Other than that, this stands out. So as it's been sitting on my skin now for just a few seconds, it is settling down. So it really does open up with an impact. And it's one of those situations where you could tell right off the bat that it is a flanker and that it's you know, differentiating itself from the original. You know, some flankers can actually be pretty close, especially when you're talking about parfums. You know, a lot of times they really won't change the scent all that much. They'll just up the concentration. And with that, some slight variations will occur. But in this instance here, you can tell that they are going for a little bit of a redesign. Not straying too far, but just enough to make it interesting. So I will take a look at the notes here. We've got cardamom up top. I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, of course, that's where the spiciness would be coming from. It's a little bit early in the morning if you couldn't tell. Neroli, ginger, mandarin orange, and citruses. To me, it was more coming across of like more of a peppery spiciness, but the cardamom does make sense because it's a warm spice along with the sweet notes and the leather and gaiac wood. So it's a nice combination there to start off with. In the mid, we have Colfie, jasmine, rose, and orange blossoms. You'll notice a decent amount of florals in here. In the base, we have suede, vanilla, leather, amber, gaiac wood, cedar wood, and tonka bean. So really, really healthy note breakdown. I'm glad that they didn't go the direction of just giving us 3 notes total. This really does paint the picture and tell the story. So going back to that, off the top, the cardamom, ginger opening really comes into play. Cardamom giving it a warmth and spiciness. The ginger kind of giving it a little bit of a slight sparkle, and even now as it's settling down, still picking up on both of those, more so the ginger now coming into play. The cardamom's kind of taking the back seat, still getting the leather, the gaiac wood, kind of the drier cedar wood, hints of vanilla, and of course the Colfie. So it's kind of a vanilla Colfie mix, giving it the kind of bulk of the sweetness here. The tonka bean even gives off a little bit of kind of a dusty, powdery smell as it settles further on. That's kind of where I'm at. And like I mentioned there, you get some florals, or at least they give you some florals. You get neroli, jasmine, rose, and then even some orange blossom. And as of right now, I'm not really picking up on too much of that, although I am confident that it is in there to balance it. You know, it's not going to be overwhelmingly strong on the neroli or something, right? It just doesn't make sense for this composition. I do pick up on a little bit of the rose, though, and I think initially that's why I was thinking oud, is because, you know, rose and oud is like, you know, bread and butter, right? It's such a famous combination. And so immediately I was picking up on a little bit of that rose, and I'm like, okay, there's that. Should there be oud somewhere following after that? Now that it's settled down more, I don't really get much of the oud type of smell anymore, but definitely a little bit of rose. Not too strong to where it's overpowering, but a little bit of it. And I think in this instance here, with the spices and then the very, very heavy base, you need a little bit of that balance. I'm going to go ahead and do a spray of Noir Extreme up in the air. And by the way, this is an eau de parfum, just for people who don't know. So yeah, that's Noir Extreme that we all know, man. Immediately starts off with that Colfie vanilla mixture. It just starts off more smooth and more sweet, and I don't mean smooth in a way of quality. Both of these are great quality. I just mean the new Parfum does have that spiciness and that ruggedness from the leather. One thing that I think people will really like about the Parfum is that it might be a little bit more on the masculine side, you know, depending on what you look for in a fragrance and what your criteria is, right? I know a lot of guys out there are kind of fed up with the overly sweet fragrances, and I do understand. One thing that's interesting is Noir Extreme has been out for a while, you know, kind of before that trend, because that trend is still enveloping right now, but it's been out kind of before that really got popular, and so it can be kind of a hit or miss, right? But I think this Parfum, focusing on that leather, the woods, that sort of thing, is going to give it more of a fighting chance in this day and age where people are fed up with sweet fragrances. As it's sitting on my skin now, we're about, 9 minutes in, it's starting to smooth out even more. So even less of that cardamom coming through, even less of that ginger coming through, and now we're kind of getting down to vanilla, suede, leather, and Colfie, basically. We're kind of down to the mid and base, so to speak. You know, still a little bit of a kind of powdery tonka. You know, what else am I missing here? A nice sweet amber, right? And maybe just still a little bit of a balance with the florals, but we're kind of getting down to the roots of the scent here after about 9 minutes, going on 10 minutes. And so you'll find that it's not linear, right? It makes some pretty big steps here just throughout these past 10 minutes. And that's another thing that I think people will appreciate. Some people like a linear scent. I do in some instances. But when it comes to a scent that maybe challenges me, or I wear because I don't know, it's more artistic than other scents, that's where I really appreciate a scent that evolves and changes a good amount, and this one definitely is. Like I said, this is the first 10 minutes of me smelling this. It's probably going to change even more. That'll be covered in a future review. I'm just going off of what I'm smelling right now. A good dose of vanilla is really coming through now. You can really pick up and single out on that vanilla note. It's a nice vanilla here. I'm a big fan of vanilla in fragrances. Love it. And in this instance here, it's a little bit syrupy, of course, sweet. Almost like a very slight bourbon vanilla, which I really, really dig. It smells fantastic. I knew this was going to be good. Okay, I just knew it, right? It's a Tom Ford. They don't really release fragrances all willy-nilly like most designer brands do. I mean, look, I'm not hating on any designer brands. All these brands that I'm thinking about I really, really like, but they'll start putting out flankers and then flanker and flanker and flanker and flanker across multiple different lines throughout the same year. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when you have a brand like Tom Ford, and even Dior, Chanel, whatever, where they take their time a little bit more, you're just going to expect a more premium product, and you're definitely getting it here. This is a great flanker. And off the bat right now, as much as you know, it may come as a total surprise to you, I actually think I might like this one better than the original. I just do. I love Parfum concentrations. I love the you know, overwhelming leather or spiciness that it opens up with. To me, it just immediately gave me that cozy feeling of fall and winter time. When I smelled that opening for the first time on my skin, just smelled great. I think this one here is going to do very well. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Tom Ford Noir Extreme Parfum. I love it. I really, really do. I think this is going to be a great, great flanker. You know, it's going to be more expensive than the original Noir Extreme. That just makes sense. It's just how it is. You can see already the fingerprints and atomization particles on it. But, you know, like I said, it'll come up on sale sometimes, probably when places like Macy's run sales. You can get it for 15% off when they do that sale. Eventually, discounters will pick it up and you'll be able to save a little bit. But, you know, Tom Ford has always been a premium brand, and it's kind of one of those brands where sometimes you're just better off paying retail if you really want it. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting around, sitting on your hands, not sure when you're going to be able to get it for a bit of a discount. So I will link it down below. I'm happy with this purchase, $235 plus shipping and tax. I would do that again if I had to. I really would. I think this is awesome, and I'm definitely going to be wearing it heavily in wintertime, and actually even fall. It has a really nice fall feel with the spices and stuff. Alrighty, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.